What happens when you stop eating emotionally? Let's talk about it. Now, first of all, I just want to say, overcoming emotional eating isn't like a light switch. This isn't like something you just turn on or turn off. It happens gradually over time. And number one, the first thing you start to notice is that you're not thinking about food as often. It's not taking up as much brain space, okay? Number two, food doesn't seem to have that pull. I often describe it as feeling like the cookies were calling my name, or like there's a trance that you seem to be in where you just have no control, like you're under the spell of food, and that starts to diminish. It doesn't feel that way anymore. Number three, you can get through situations, even really difficult, stressful, challenging life situations, without turning to food. Because listen, we're never going to stop the life situations from happening, okay? Things happen all the time, good, bad, and otherwise. But when you start to realize, you don't need the food to feel better. That's what happens when you stop eating emotionally. Number four, the struggle with food starts to reduce. So what I mean by that is the fight that you may feel you are in with food, that constant kind of tug of war, like you want it, but you don't. That fight isn't as intense, okay? And that's because we're not thinking about food as often. So number five, you start to see the shifts in real time as they're happening. And what I mean by that is you notice that the time in between emotional eats, so that how often you eat emotionally, it's not happening as often, okay? That time in between starts to grow, and the times when you do eat aren't as intense. So you're not consuming as much food, or you're able to stop yourself quicker in the moment. Because again, this isn't like a light switch. We don't all of a sudden just say one day, turn the switch and I don't eat emotionally anymore. No, that will eventually happen, but it does take time. And there are going to be moments as you're learning and as you're practicing and as you're progressing when you do have an emotional eat, but it's not going to be as intense as it was before you started the work, okay? And last but not least, my favorite is that all that time and attention that used to go towards food and towards fighting with food and towards fighting with yourself, all that time, think about the percentage of time that is spent on food, eating, fighting with yourself, and fighting with food. All of that time, attention, energy, focus gets to go to other things that feel a heck of a lot better. So is it worth it to overcome the habits with food and end emotional eating? 100% yeah.